Hey, so I thought I'd come on here just talk a little bit about a couple of things I've learned. Honestly, I was tripping one time a couple months ago and I came to this conclusion, so it's good. So I wanted to talk about creativity and community, which are two of the most important things I've found in life, I guess, for me right now. Um, I have a couple notes because I can't, yeah. Um, So for creativity, I think it's a practice, first of all. Like, you don't just show up and be good at creativity. Like, you have to put work into it and work to be consistent, first of all, and then to be good. Um, and it's not about like perfection. Like, I think a lot of what stops me from practicing creativity is perfection. Like, I want to create the perfect story, or I want to you know, get the perfect picture or whatever it is. Um, but really, creativity is about just getting what's in your head into the world. Um, that could be like through writing or through art or through music. For me, it's been photography, so capturing the world as you see it. Um, yeah, let's see. It's about like sharing your story and how you see the world. Um, yeah. uh, Consumption is definitely easier. Like, consuming other people's content is so much easier. Um, and we're definitely in an age of that with like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, all the different streaming services. So it's so much easier to just take in other people's creation. But uh, I found that it's important to create and to share your own story and share your own experience. Um, it's also important, I've found, to like choose productive consumption. I think like books are very good because they're a condensed version of someone's life lessons that they've learned. Like, you can learn so much. I've been trying to get into reading. It's hard. It's definitely easier to just watch movies and stuff, but even with like movies and stuff, I found that like trying to learn lessons from those movies, because that is ultimately creativity. Like, people are using movies to share their stories and share what they've learned in life. So trying to use whatever you consume to your benefit has been really helpful to me, at least. Um, and then another thing, when you create, this is talking to myself, because I definitely have the perspective of like seeking praise when I create, like, oh, that's such a good picture or whatever. Um, but I think creating from a place of service is important versus from a place of seeking praise. Is that that mentality shift, and I think that also helps with like, it doesn't have to be perfect because this is what I'm putting out right now, and so it doesn't have to be the perfect picture, for example, so that I get praise. Um, the other perspective should be, this is how I see the world, so this is how I want to share my experience in whatever that means. Um, yeah, and I think God has given us each a different way of looking at the world. So, like, some people are gifted in music, some are gifted in drawing or painting. So, finding that for yourself is super important. It definitely takes a minute. Like, you don't just know what you're good at. So, that goes back to the practice piece where it's about putting in the work, and because creativity is work, and yeah, I know from experience, like it's a lot of work. You have to put in the work to be consistent, and yeah, and to be good. Like you don't just become good at whatever it is. You don't become good at draw, or you don't draw a perfect picture the first time. Um, yeah. Anyways, the next thing was community. I found that's really important. It's definitely hard for me, especially as an introvert, and I think it's hard for everyone. But as an introvert, I would much rather just like be in my own world and not really talk to other people. um, but humans are social creatures. That's how we were made. So finding community in wherever you are is really important. Um, so like for me, I work at Starbucks, so management is telling us to like have good customer connections, and that's fine. Like you can have connections with like customers or regulars or whatever, but you don't really build meaningful connections with them. It's more of like a polite interaction, like, hey, how's it going? Good, how are you? And that's, you don't get a sense of community from that. So I've realized that like working on that with my coworkers has been really helpful. Um, because that's where you like see them almost every day and you can actually build a meaningful connection with them. And then another thing is like at the gym, you can talk to people. If you see a cute girl or guy, go up to them and talk to them. Or just anyone you like have something to say, just be like, hey, I don't know, you have a nice physique. Good for you. um, so just finding community in places that you are already is really helpful. You don't need to, well, it would be helpful, but you don't need to like go out and join a club or like, I don't know, join a church or like join a photography class. Those are a couple examples from my life where I've thought of about it, and those definitely would be helpful for sure. You could meet new people, um, have new experiences, but I found that working to build a sense of community in the places that you already are is really helpful. Um, I think a big piece of this is that talking to people and like being around people puts like a check on your identity and like who you think you are. So like for example, for me, um, I see myself as like shy or like awkward. So talking to people has helped me realize like I'm not the only one. Other people feel awkward too. Crazy thought, I know. um, yeah, but like, and even like talking to people at the gym, for example, has helped me realize like I can feel that fear of talking to people and feel the fear, but do it anyways. Like you can go up to them. You don't have to have a whole conversation. You could just, hey, I like your shoes, and walk away. you know, it doesn't have to be a full blown crazy thing like your mind lots of times tells you it's gonna be. Um, and I think like there's a lot of fear around talking to people, especially who you don't know. Like social anxiety is a huge thing. It definitely was and is for me. Um, so that makes it so it's so much easier to just isolate yourself and like not want to be seen is a huge thing. Um, like at work, there were times where I just wanted to keep my head down and focus on work instead of joking around or talking to anyone because I, yeah, there's that fear piece and it deters you from wanting to talk to people. um, Another thing that has been really helpful is like not putting pressure on myself, especially at like work with my coworkers. Like there were a lot of times where I would feel bad for not talking to someone or like put pressure on myself to make a joke or like to respond and like respond a certain way or like um yeah, make someone laugh or something like that. But I found that it's very helpful to just share your inner dialogue. So like I don't know, I can't think of an example, but like hey, or that customer was really weird, and then the conversation starts off of that, something like that. Just like whatever's going on in your head, whatever you're thinking about, just letting people into that um, has been very helpful for me, and it's definitely uncomfortable. You have to be vulnerable, and um, you have to be okay with your own thoughts in order to do that. But um, it's also for me, it's shown me that other people have the same thoughts. Like, I don't know. So, I don't know if I said, but I work at Starbucks. So I was like, hey, to one of my coworkers, I was like, hey, what's your favorite Frappuccino to make? And he was like, caramel crunch. And I was like, dang, me too. That's sweet. I was like, I don't know what it is about it, but it's just so satisfying. Um, I don't know why I said that, but I think that just sharing what's going on in your head, both through creativity and like talking to other people, has been super helpful to me because it like shows me that I'm not alone, and it helps others see that they're also not alone, and it just builds relationships and connections, and um, we get to share this experience on Earth with other people. So why not make meaningful connections in whatever means, whatever way that means for each individual. I don't know if that makes sense, but those are my thoughts, so I thought I'd share. Anyways, I'll see you later.